What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to more Black Desert. So today we're going to be doing a chill day of bartering and answering a question that a lot of you guys asked. So one thing we're going to be talking about is my goals in BDO and how to set goals as a newer player. So yeah, so we're going to be doing a little bit of sailing first, and we're just going to go to Hakova and do a double barter. I think I got everything pre-prepped before we head out. So yeah, a few things that's happening in the near future for me is I made the step of I'm finally selling some of my old gear. So for example, one thing that's listed right now is actually the TET Godr-Ayed. I finally made the decision to sell it, and after taxes is what, like 61 billion. I used the what is that item? Hold on, let me figure it out. Shimmering old moon piece, which is basically a one-time use rich merchant ring. So after taxes is about 62. As you guys know, my goal has been to try to get a Pen Black Star Awakening, and there's actually a few of them sitting on the market. They're max price, and I can't afford the 160. But in about 3 minutes, it'll get listed, so hopefully someone buys it. And yeah, we're just saving up silver. Yesterday, I decided to do a little bit of enhancing. It wasn't really super interesting, but remember that Pride Black Star? We managed to get it to TET, so I'm going to use that for, I guess, temporarily until we get it. And yeah, we went down 6 AP in our awakening with the goal of just getting the pen one day. So yeah, then we have other goals. I'll make another video of that. But anyway, something that I wanted to talk about for like new players and just people who get started with this game. So as you guys know, BDO is not your traditional MMO. Think like, I don't know. Let's say you came from Elder Scrolls Online or World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy. Those are the big ones, I guess. And usually those games are, okay, you just gotta get gear and do the latest raids and all that stuff. And there's nothing wrong with that. But BDO is more of an open world sandbox game. So that means you can do whatever you want. There's no linear path on how to go about what you're doing. And that is one thing that I try to explain to people, and it's just hard because you people who play other MMOs just have that mentality. So let's say you are a new player, right? And you're just starting out the game. Let's say you're doing seasons, you got Tuvala. After Tuvala, I actually thought about this, and I'm like, I think people would actually get lost and not know where to go, not sure where to progress after that. So I made some videos previously on how to gear progress in that, but I wanted to do like a mini series on the channel one day of just going through like all the life skills that we have, and like one by one, I don't know how I would do it, but just like explain how to do every life skill, show you some examples of what I do, and just how to go about like preparing. So the reason why we'd be doing that is just like show you what kind of things there are to do in this game and how you can go about starting it as a beginner. And I think life skilling is actually pretty fun in this game. The reason why, if you watch like, I don't know, streamers and stuff say it's not a lot of money compared to grinding, that's because it's true. You make a little bit less money, but ultimately this game is very complicated and you should do what you like. So I life skill personally as well, because back in the day when I first started, I was just like, okay, all about the grind, min-maxing, efficiency. And nowadays, like, I may make a little bit less silver than people who grind, I don't know, 10 hours a day, but I don't get burnt out of the game. So that's one thing that I wanted to make very clear, like, try different things. and just try not to get burnt out. So, how do you go about doing things as a beginner? Let's say you finish your first season character or your first season. You have full pen Tuvala or whatever equivalent that is. And how do you go about doing everything and setting goals? So you can go two routes. One is the PvE PvP route, and that is you would get different gear. So like, for example, this is my like grinding and PvP gear. Whereas, well, actually on my main, I have a box full of goodies like life skill gear as well. But for example, this one has very scuffed life skill gear, which is, these are monos accessories and not even enhanced. But so there's two routes to go, whether you want the life skill or like PvP PvE gear. And ultimately I would say you should try to get both of them, just so you don't have to sell gear back and forth. But that's a long-term goal, and it's very difficult to get best in slot of everything. So I would focus on whatever you enjoy doing more. Try out every life skill at least once, and some things are just not for you, some things you might like more. And one thing I always try to tell people is don't roulette your gear. And if you don't know what that means, it's a term in BDO where, let's say I don't know, you have all TET armors and stuff. This is a bad example, but let's say you have all TET armors and you're trying to go for your first piece of pen gear. Don't try to enhance them all at once. And let's say for the best case scenario is you get one pen, but then, well, the best case scenario is you one tap it and nothing goes downwards. But on average, and most likely what's going to happen is either everything fails or one thing goes up, but then all your other gear is now try or lower. And so even if you hit that pen piece of gear, your total gear score, I guess you can say, or your AP, DP, is probably still lower than what you would have gotten if you didn't do that. So my best scenario, or my best advice, is don't roulette, work on one piece at a time, or use backup gear when you're enhancing armors and weapons. So now that I think about it, like back in the day, using backups is the way to go. But now that Cronning is more accessible, at least on NA, if you're on EU or just any other server where costumes aren't more available, I think the best case scenario is just understanding how to fail stack properly and hope that averages work out for you. There are some cases, if you were like an endgame player, where I would actually rather buy vendor crons than raw tap some things like 10 black stars, where it actually costs more to click it overall. So I guess we'll just talk about regular boss gears for your average player. There are a lot of things they added to the game where it's like guaranteed accessories that are pen or pen armors, weapons through Jatina's quest, which I think is really good. And all of that came out after I was already full pen, more or less. And so I didn't really get a chance to experience that as a player, but I think it's a good thing that they added systems like that, because overall, if you were like hard stuck and just like a piece of gear wouldn't go for you, or grinding out 100 billion silver was tedious, then you would actually be an advantage to someone like, I don't know, who's 300 plus AP all the time. So I'm glad they added stuff like that. I think it's really good. And so other goals that I'd recommend trying out and thinking about is try different grind spots and work on one piece of gear at a time. Whether, I think the best option, I know everyone says this, but it's not exactly as easy as it sounds, is always buy your gear. And that means there's no RNG. You just save up, grind, do whatever, and then flat out buy it. Now that works for, I would say, 99% of things. You can just straight up buy it. And by the time you get to the point where there's stuff that you cannot buy, you're already a veteran player. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. So overall, one thing I would say is work on one piece at a time. And second, this is like the biggest advice that I can tell you. Get whatever gear. Well, let's say you're going for a specific build. Get whatever gives you the most stats for the least amount of money. That sounds obvious, but then people ask me this all the time. It's like, hey, what piece of gear should I go for next? And really just whatever gives you the most stats for the least amount of money. And yeah, so there it is. But anyway, what other things would I say? Kind of goal setting. I guess try different grind spots, see whichever one works for you. And I wouldn't always recommend or worry about min-maxing, because I've tried that back in the day, and you know, sometimes to an extent I was like, oh, I'd rather grind here because it makes more silver than somewhere else. But at the end of the day, it's just like, if you don't like it, won't be there. Just grind somewhere else, even if it makes you a little bit less money, because you'll have more fun doing it. And I see a lot of people get burnt out because they're just like, oh, I have to grind the spot every day because it's the most money. Yeah, trust me, I've seen it. Hear my friends, guildies say it too. I'm just like, well, don't do that. Maybe, I don't know. It would be nice if this sold, by the way. Also, one day I would love to grind for the rich merchant ring, but I don't think I'm ready. I could do Olins, but it's hard to find a group. I could do Paddocks. That one is no problem. I think Paddocks Island, but other people can solo now? I'm not really too sure. I know it's a two-person spot, but I think it's soloable. Crypt of Resting Thoughts. I am not ready for that. And I've tried that and things just chunk. So maybe in a few years, or whenever everyone's gear gets more stacked, we'll try that. But other goals I have in mind, like for me, for example, my goal right now is to get a Pen Black Star, or the Awakening one, that is. After I do that, I'm gonna try to go for Pen Tungrad rings, but at the same time, when they give us crons for whatever things I want to do, are go for a TET Fallen God and try and TET Labresca. So people are just like, oh, I have so many stacks. And trust me, like, I feel like I have a lot of stacks because I'm at the point where fail stacks are important, but at the same time, it's like, it's very hard. I have the stacks, but whether that 5% actually goes, that's just like prayers. Hope it goes. But yeah, my goals in the game literally take me months, if not entire years. I would say, nah, actually probably just months. But yeah, I wish I could make more like update videos. You know how you see some other YouTubers are just like, okay, this is what I did this month and these are my progression. Oh, as much as I'd love to do that, it's more like I made no gains, have silver, or sometimes we just blew everything up and we didn't get anything. So sadly, progression for me is kind of difficult to do, and the gains that I make are just so boring. It's like, oh, I got a DR artifact for the first time, and one thing I was actually really happy about is I got my second all damage reduction artifact from grinding. So this is the experimental, just tankier artifact and Lightstone combo. But it's like, that's not fun to hear about. No one cares. People want to see like big AP numbers and stuff. But yeah, hopefully some goals that you guys have aren't as extreme, and especially if you're a new player, definitely feel free to ask if you have any questions or anything, because I remember when I first started, there were no guides or there weren't that many content creators, so I just kind of had to figure things out by myself. So now that it's 2022, if you have any questions or anything, feel free to ask. I'll do my best to answer, or join the Discord actually. I'm on almost pretty much daily, so if you have any questions, feel free to join that. We have a BDO channel. Hold up, let me do this. Barter. Please don't be garbage, Hakoven. 451, not bad. I'm probably not coming back tonight, so we'll just pop this one again. Pretty good. Also, one day in the near future, I think I'm going to make a sailing updated guide. So not really much has changed. It's just more tips that I've learned throughout the years, like getting your carrack, getting your frigate. All the tips and tricks I can give you are pretty much the same. So if you're looking to do sailing in the future or bartering, realistically, all the information is still the same. They haven't touched or updated bartering in a long time. So I guess just more, if I were to make an updated guide, it would just be more relevant tips on how to navigate the ocean better, because unlike some games where you just like sail and there's no wind currents and tides, it's a little bit different in BDO, because we have these thingies right here, like the water tides and wind currents, so there's optimal routes for how to do things. So I'll try to do that in the future, but I don't know. Sailing is one of those things where it's like mostly AFK. But anyway, I wanted to always get like blue carrack gear and try to upgrade everything at the same time. Like, I got a Valor so I could boat PvP with my guildies and friends. And then they came out with Naval Fame, which, like, I understand. You can't just sink people's boats with trade stuff on it. That's, like, actual loss of stuff. But, I don't know. At the same time, I just want to boat PvP with my friends. That's why I got the Valor in the first place. But, yeah. Anyway, hopefully you guys learned some things. Goal setting. Tips on what not to do. And just try what you like and stick to it. It may not make the most silver unless you legitimately just enjoy grinding min-maxing, but yeah, try different things. There's a lot to do in this game, so we're just settling back. There's not really much to do, so I'm just gonna wrap it up here. So if you enjoyed it, drop a quick like on the video. If you're new to the channel as well, hit that subscribe button. I try to make videos pretty regularly, so I will see you guys tomorrow.